I feel like a lot of people have this misconception that this generation in particular is evil, or that the politicians today are particularly corrupt, right? Like when you look at the Epstein files, or you look at all the nonsense going on with ICE, or the genocide in Gaza, or really anything that is so plainly evil that's in front of us today, a lot of what I've noticed, at least, is that a lot of people have this sort of cynicism towards society as we know it, or like towards governance, or whatever it may be. There's generally a spirit of cynicism prevalent in our youth today. I'm saying in our youth like I'm old or something. In my generation, at least, I'm seeing this, right? It's a lot of cynicism. Today, while I was talking with my grandpa, he told me that he's gonna die an ignorant man. And he said that because in his 80 years or so of living on this earth, he's from Honduras, but having watched different presidents come in and out of the elections, watch poverty pretty much stay the same throughout his entire life in Honduras, watching the different genocides that have occurred on our planet, watching corruption, watching greed, watching different people become failures, other people become successful. He's never understood the reason for greed or the reason for human pride. And he's never understood why evil must occur, and why, as long as humanity exists, there needs to be suffering, and there needs to be poverty, and there needs to be greed. He's never understood why a country like Honduras needs to be so poverty stricken for the entirety of its existence. And what I told him, or what we ended up talking about, is that I'm gonna die the same way he is, not understanding the heart of man, and not understanding the purpose behind good and evil, right? And I like to think of it as a question as old as humanity itself. A theme in the Bible is that from pretty much the day after man or humanity was created, evil came in and became intertwined with humanity itself. There's not a person on earth, well, this goes for pretty much every religion, not just Christianity. I don't like to limit it to Christianity, but every religion on earth makes the point that humans in themselves are imperfect, or at least evil, and it's in all of our natures to be selfish. And it doesn't matter whether you're a religious person or not to agree with me on that all humans are born with this sense of selfishness and greed, right? It's innate to our beings. It's innate to the human race, and we're born with it intertwined in our hearts, right? It's written on us already. But going back to what I was talking about cynicism, right? The reason that I tell the story now about my grandpa saying he's gonna die an ignorant man by not understanding the reason behind human greed is that, like I said, it's a question as old as humanity itself. The ancient Egyptians asked it. The oldest book in the Bible, Job, written however many thousands of years ago, asked the same question of why a human must suffer. And Ecclesiastes, another really old Testament book, King Solomon asked, after becoming the most powerful man on earth, why does greed exist, and why does wisdom exist, and why does foolishness exist? And none of these people could ultimately come up with an answer. And the reason is because it's not a question that can be answered, and the only observation or somewhat of an answer that can be made to that question is that like I've been saying, humans are born with a certain level of evil in their hearts, and there's nothing they can do about it. But of course, that's the fact of our own selfishness, and the fact that we recognize that is the reason for a lot of created religion. And okay, that was a really long ramble, but I guess I'll end it with this. My point here is that there's a spirit of cynicism in America today, across all young people across the entire world, because rightfully so, they're recognizing that the people in power are those like Jeffrey Epstein, or the people in power are poisoning us with processed foods, or indoctrinating us with false information, or holding on to old racist or sexist or patriarchal ideals. And that's true. I don't disagree with it. I agree with it heavily. Heavily, I agree with those things. But my point is that every generation moves further and further away from religion. And the effect of that is that they forget that the idea of corruption or of greed or of evil within the people of power oppressing the common folk is not limited to 2026. As long as humanity has existed, the same things that we, the common folk, are experiencing has existed as well. Back in the Old Testament, going back to talking about Jeffrey Epstein and all of that, right? There used to be cults that sacrificed children, that did heinous crimes towards children, right? That is not new to society. That has always existed. The people in power have always done these things. And I guess all I'm trying to say is that people are so caught up in the now, in the fact that that's happening now, that they've forgotten the fact that it's innate to our nature. It's always happened. The people in power have always been corrupted by their power. It's a tale as old as time, right? I guess I'll conclude with this lesson in like a sentence or two, that a person can't be too caught up in the now, because a lot of the questions surrounding corruption and evil are questions as old as time itself. And ultimately, one cannot let themselves become so riled up or stressed out about the world, right? One must recognize that evil isn't new to this generation. It's always been around, and there's ultimately no victory against evil until this life is over. And I guess that's all I have to say.